everybody, welcome, olá, sejam bem-vindos a mais vídeo do Learn European Portuguese Online. My name is Sandra and I am the founder of the project. So today I wanted to talk to you guys about strategies, tips on how to succeed in learning Portuguese, things that you can do at home to complement your lessons with your teacher or tutor. These are all recommendations that I give to my students, and I really believe they can make a big difference in the learning process. So today I'm going to be talking about 6 tips, 6 dicas, to help you guys out. And let me know if you've been using any of these or if you will start incorporating and how it goes. So vamos começar com a dica número 1. The first tip I wanted to talk about is talk out loud as much as you can. The reality is when you're learning a language, fluency, practice is really important. And for most of Portuguese learners, either you're learning on your own or even if you have a teacher, practicing only with your teacher is probably not enough. So if you're not living in Portugal, it's really an excellent tool, and even if you're living in Portugal, to practice on your own. So usually what I recommend is while you're walking around in your house, try to speak to yourself in Portuguese. Little things just like, for example, if you're going to take a shower, say everything you want to do out loud. Vou tomar duche. And then you go to the kitchen and you're cooking. Vou cozinhar. Vou trabalhar. Vou lavar a louça, for I'm going to do the dishes. So try to say out loud things that you are going to do. Okay, that's an excellent tool to identify verbs that you might not know, which ones you know, which ones you need to review, and also to hear yourself and to see, in terms of pronunciation, what sounds you need to focus on. So it's really, really a great tool. I highly suggest it, okay? Dica número 2. Dica número 2 is learn opposites. Opposites are a great strategy to learn vocabulary. Mostly adjectives and verbs, but it's really great to try to learn 2 words together. Okay, so if you're going to learn the word barato, make sure to learn the word caro with it, because then you'll know that one is cheap, the other one's expensive, or alto for tall and baixo for short. This will really give you confidence as you go, and when you're in a dialogue with someone and talking about a topic, you'll actually know both words and you'll be more comfortable, because sometimes people tend to get stuck when they don't remember the other word. So it's a great strategy. The same applies to verbs. So while you're walking around in the house, for example, and if you're opening your fridge and closing your fridge, make sure to practice the verb abrir and the verb fechar. So it's also excellent to practice with verbs, okay? Dica número 3, okay? 3 is learn how to change suffixes, okay? So a suffix is basically a pattern ending that you find in several words that have a certain root. So we have equivalent suffixes to the English. So if you have a pattern ending and you know the equivalent in Portuguese, it will help you from the start know a big number of words. So I'm going to go through the most important ones and make sure to write a list to practice and to write a list of words that you commonly used and that you could apply this technique. Okay, so let's start, for example, the endings IST in English, in Portuguese, and in ISTA with the sound ista. So if I were to say the word artist, that would be artista, for example. The same with the ending tion in English. In Portuguese, it is the equivalent to the são with the cedilha. So for words like nation, you're going to say nação in Portuguese. The next one is ssion in English. Usually, of course, there are always exceptions. Usually, you are going to find the equivalent word with S-S-A-O. So words like session in Portuguese are sessão. Okay, this rule also applies to OUS, that in Portuguese would have the ending OSO. So for famous, famoso. Adverbs usually end in ly. In Portuguese, you're going to find the equivalent with mente. So a word like normally in Portuguese is normalmente. Okay, and lastly, we have the ty. So words like city, usually in Portuguese, are going to end in dade. So that's why city becomes cidade. So see, if you practice all these endings, identify words in English that you want to know in Portuguese, it's a great, great tip. Again, just wanted to recap, there are exceptions, so make sure to, before you say the word, go at the dictionary. It's also a fun activity, and double check those words, okay? The other one I wanted to talk about is gender of nouns, okay? So this one is probably the easier one, but it's really good since all our nouns have gender. It's really good from the beginning to identify. Of course, we have the basics, right? If a noun ends in an O, it's usually masculine. If a noun ends in an A, it's feminine. But we have other words with other endings. So remember that, for example, nouns ending in dade are all feminine. So make sure to make a list of those, and also make a list of false friends. We do have a few false friends, and some of those words are words that we use on a daily basis. So you'll find them commonly in a, very basic dialogue. So make a list of those words to identify them, and when you're using them, you'll be more comfortable in knowing that you're using the right article. Words like dia, as in day, is masculine. So if you want to say the day, you're going to say o dia. Words like problema, cinema. Okay, so you have other words that are false friends. So make sure to identify them. Chá, for example, also another good one for tea, ends in an A, but if you want to say the tea is hot, you have to say o chá está quente. So it's great to know and identify those words from the beginning. The next one I wanted to talk about, so tip number 5, dica número 5, is listen to TV and radio. Okay? And regarding TV, Portuguese TV, I highly recommend the RTP website, which you can always also find an app. But in this case specifically, I do recommend the website, okay? So basically, on the RTP website, you can watch shows live or on demand. And on demand, there's a soap opera that I highly recommend that's called O Sábio. And I know some people might not find, the soap opera the most interesting topic, but I'm going to explain from a perspective of learning a language why it is an excellent tool. So O Sábio is one of the very few programs that you have that you can actually watch the show with Portuguese subtitles. So if you click on the closed caption option on the website, you will be able to not only listen to the actors, but also follow along with the subtitles. What is the advantage of this? The advantage is that you can practice your reading, your listening at the same time, identify how we blend words together, because that's definitely one of the most challenging things in Portuguese is the comprehension. So you can really see how fast we speak, how we blend those words together, and that will help you also listen to Portuguese later on. It will also have a very interesting cultural aspect, because you will learn how Portuguese people emphasize things, how they dramatize certain expressions. So it is great. Another thing I do with my students, and you can discuss with your teacher, is they take notes when they are watching these episodes. And you have over 200 episodes, so you can, this is a long-term project if you like it, but you can take notes and share them with your teacher and ask them. I had, for example, a student watch a few episodes and he came to me and he said, What's combinado? You guys are always saying combinado, está combinado. Those are expressions that we don't have in English so much. So it's really a great tool to pick up expressions that Portuguese use and know when to use them in what context, okay? So definitely check it out. I'll leave actually the link below so you guys can access it in a faster way. Now we have the last tip is number 6, and this is find trick associations. This is actually a really fun, creative way of memorizing words. Some students are, have their own strategies into memorizing words, and some students just are natural and memorize very easily. Others take time to memorize words, and it can be challenging. So this is a strategy that can be very helpful. So try to think of a similar word, either a whole word or a beginning, that can help you memorize the word in Portuguese. I can give you guys an example. I have several students that are lawyers, for example. The word in Portuguese for lawyer is advogado. I don't know if you've identified, but there is a similar word in English that means something totally different. That is avocado. So a lot of my students tell me that to memorize the word advogado, they think of avocado. So if you have these connections, it will help you memorize the word. So I hope you enjoyed our 6 tips. Make sure to subscribe if you like our content. We'll definitely be developing more videos like this one. And don't forget to also click the bell if you want to get a notification every time we make a new video. Have a great day, tenham excelente dia e até a próxima! Follow us on Facebook and subscribe to our YouTube channel. Learn European Portuguese online.